this is where Jung understands.
Yeah.
All the voices are all you. He wrote a book called The Red Book. If you can get Jung's Red Book, no, all the voices are you.
Yeah.
Every dream you have, all the different things in there, it's all you.
So what if, so my visitations, what if those are me? And
Well, they're part of you,
they are,
but
yeah.
you're also experiencing the spirit of your mother. And,
Yes, yes.
But Pachamama is
But
you.
I am my mother.
Absolutely.
So she's in me. So what I realized, and in one of my experiences, I was pregnant with a baby girl, and
in a vision.
and it's this real vision, and I was holding my belly like I was about to give birth, and I was like, oh, I was like, oh my goodness, like I'm carrying. Well, I was thinking to myself, the generational trauma stops right here with me. Like I felt the weight that my mother carried, sexual abuse, all sorts of abuse. I felt the weight of all of that, and I'm like, my daughter will not have to carry the weight that I carried. And I felt like in that moment, my mother was me. I was the women. I was the descendant of every woman before me, and I carried them in my being, and it just passes down. And I felt that on such a visceral level. So I know that these are all me. These are all
Well,
like
this is what I meant when I said before. We're carrying around
Yeah.
all of our former lives
Yes.
and all of our ancestors' lives
Absolutely.
are
Yeah.
in us.
Mhm.
Now, the Hindu tradition says when you wake up, when your kundalini gets activated and the snake goes from the bottom of your spine to the top of your head,
Yeah.
you remember all of your former lives all at once. Now that kind of freaks me out. And that may be why I'm sort of delayed. But
There's
I-
some resistance maybe.
Well, I'm getting more in touch with the need to access
Yeah.
these different ways that the energy of the so-called past. I mean, William Faulkner in his novel, when they gave him the Nobel Prize, they said, "Oh, you wrote so wonderfully about America's past." And he says, "The past isn't even past."
It's not, because time is linear and simultaneous. Like time is
Well-
linear for us, but it's simultaneous. It's all happening at once.
Well, the one in the Greek Heraclitus, time is one continuous present. So it's like the river flowing.
There's only now. Like,
And it's always been that way.
Time is one continuous.
Time is one continuous present. So, what seems to be the past, or we kind of experience it that way, but only at a certain level. Because, you have all of so-called El Salvador walking with you, and El Norte de Mexico walking with you, and everything else. You have, I don't know what.
A variety.
I know I have Palestine walking in me. Why do I feel so strongly about that? Because I dreamt myself living in Jerusalem. I dreamt I was in Jerusalem, but I was not a Jew.
I feel that way about Egypt.
Well, I've dreamt myself in Egypt too. I know my grandmother, my German grandmother, was convinced she lived in ancient Egypt. So she had. And I know I have. Egypt is
When
one
I
of the
went to
sources
Egypt,
of everything.
I feel a lot connected to a lot of different places, but when I went to Egypt, I was like, this is home. I felt home in Egypt.
Well, it's because you have been, or will always be there. That part of the earth is of you. It is you. Now, we're all of the earth, but the particular things
Yeah.
related to our particular karmic form this time,
Yes.
and I think there are those three things. Our actual soul's past lives, our physical ancestors, wherever they've all been.
Yeah.
And when we step in a certain place, if we've never been there before, well, then it gets to be part of us. Now, we've all had different experiences about people telling us things, and then it ends up happening. Or we saw it, quote, before it happened, except it's all just continuous.
Yeah.
So the differentiation is a perceptual apparatus. Now, it's not false. but it's not really there.
I feel like time, like the purpose of time is so things don't all happen at once. Like,
Or we don't experience them all at once,
the only true.
because they are all happening all at once.
Ah,
But it keeps us from getting overloaded in a certain sense. Is that what you mean?
yeah, because
Say more about what you mean.
we see it linear as from we
Past,
get to
present, future.
experience. Our experience is a continuous now, but in our perception, it's moving along.
Uh-huh.
So, if what we consider time being that linear, it's us just creating a buffer between what we're consciously creating and what we're experiencing.
If there is an infinitely merciful God, then explain to me, infinitely benevolent and merciful God, then how can people suffer? Where does evil come in?
It's a logical problem.
It's a logical problem, and it defies logic.
But
you get higher, then good and bad. What is good and bad?
well,
what is
what did Nietzsche teach us? Men give themselves all their good and evil. Human beings give themselves.
divine good and bad? I mean, divine order is different than our good and bad.
Well,
right?
it doesn't. Good and bad is not an issue
Yeah.
with the realm of the one,
Yeah.
because it's one, or it's beyond one and zero.
Yeah.
Beyond big.
It's
beyond it. Yeah.
beyond
absolutely.
good and evil.
I made it
Um,
complicated, but yeah.
No, but it's just that's not what's going on there. I mean, there is suffering,
Yeah.
there is pain, and simply excusing it with, well, God is beyond all that. That's not a real good answer.
No.
And the real God doesn't want that to be the answer. Not exactly.
Does he want us to explore it deeper?
Well,
What is his part? What is?
there, I have a Korean brother who wrote a PhD on the Book of Job, which is where this is probed the most. And he said, the Book of Job is not a book of answers. It is a book of questions. So he spent a whole part of his life reading into Job in Hebrew. And that's my experience, that there isn't an answer. There's always another question.
Always another
And this is
question.
even
I agree.
the postmodernists say, as soon as it comes into a form, it's 5 minutes old, you subject it to suspicion. Or, you get, who am I? And you keep going. Who? What is being? What is the I? It's a construct. The Tao that can be spoken is not the eternal Tao. Its language is form. And it's talking about the form of the formless. Which is, of course, odd. It's a play with language to break
Yeah.
through duality. And the different texts, the different traditions all have ways of using language. I mean, Jesus said, do not let your right hand know what your left hand is doing. What does he mean? He's messing with your mind. From those who have little, even more will be taken away. To those who have much, even more will be given. What? Well, again, it's just... these are language, and the Quran has many language games in it, which you must know.
Absolutely.
But
Oh,
that verse,
specifically,
that verse you
different-
showed me,
Yeah.
that's a core or primal emergence into the form of words of what the earth and the universe are always saying all the time.
Like the Quran will specifically use some masculine terms for certain things, and then feminine terms, like feminine, ways to say certain things. So it takes both into consideration, masculine and feminine attributes, which is always fascinating to me when you really look into it. It's like, wait, but God is not. God is both. You know.
Or both and neither
Both
nor.
and exactly.
Depending on
exactly.
which way you want to flip the coin of
Yes.
your perception around.
Yes.